My name is Stephanie Krenrich. I work at the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. We're a private nonprofit based up in Bethesda by NIH. And we work to develop treatments for cystic fibrosis and improve quality of life for those with the disease. Before I start, I want to thank RDLA and the Rare Disease Caucus for having us here. I think this is a really valuable opportunity to discuss FDASIA and implementation and next steps moving forward. I think some of you know what cystic fibrosis is, but it's a rare genetic disease affecting about 30,000 people in the United States. It causes a thick, sticky mucus to clog the lungs and the digestive system and the reproductive system and other systems, leading to life-threatening infections. The median life expectancy right now is in the mid-30s. We've made some incredible progress. The life expectancy in the 50s, kids didn't live to attend elementary school. So over the years, we've really made some great progress, but we're still losing a lot of young lives to this disease. Like I said, the foundation's focus is to support the development of new drugs and to improve quality of life. And I'm here today to talk about two separate subjects. One is the rare disease expertise provision in FDASIA, and the other is sequestration. Oh, you already moved to my next slide. That's great. So as I talk about the rare disease expertise provision, I'm going to go through what the bill is, why it's necessary, and our goals at the foundation, our goals for implementation, and we hope we can work with the FDA and members of Congress on that. So the FDA Safety and Innovation Act, Section 903, had a provision encouraging greater access at the FDA to rare disease experts outside of the agency. The purpose was to streamline and increase access to these experts for those who review drugs. The provision was originally introduced as a standalone bill, the Expanding and Promoting Expertise in Review of Rare Treatments Act. I love that I got that whole title out. That was a work in progress. The EXPERRT Act is what it ended up being. It was HR 4156 and S 2281. It was introduced by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island and our wonderful CF caucus co-chairs, Congressman Markey, Congressman Stearns, and Congressman Marino. And we were lucky enough to have it included in FDASIA. And I guess while I'm here, I should also just thank our sponsors and thank all of you for voting for FDASIA and for passing it and for being signed into law. We were really grateful to Congress for that. Now on to what the bill does. As it says in the slide, the purpose of this provision is to assist the FDA in promoting greater efficiency in the review of treatments for rare diseases, treatments targeted to a specific gene or genetic mutation, and to those subsets of diseases of larger incidence. As you know better than anyone, there are 7,000 rare diseases. And given the growing number of potential therapies that are targeted to smaller and smaller populations, FDA reviewers benefit from increased collaboration with those with a particular specialized expertise in particular disease and disease areas throughout review, from the IND phase all the way through to the end. And this type of outreach from reviewers to experts outside of the agency, this collaboration is something, yes, that's already practiced at the FDA, but it's not a standard practice. And the purpose of this being included in FDASIA is to take this practice and make it a standard practice. So if you could move on, go back to, I guess, slide 2. Thank you, okay. What this bill does in particular, I know our friend from the FDA had already talked about that a little bit, but first, it seeks to ensure that opportunities exist for stakeholders, and that, like she had said, includes patients, researchers, clinicians, anyone with a stake in this, increase their participation and make sure that their voices are heard as these drugs are being reviewed. It's incredibly important for that. I know there are a lot of provisions in both the PDUFA agreement and in FDASIA that encourage this kind of outreach or this kind of collaboration. So this section also aims to do that. But it also provides for the development and maintenance of a list of external experts in rare diseases who are qualified to provide advice on the review of drugs and biological products. And having this available, hopefully, will help streamline the process of outreach to these external experts. This kind of outreach will happen when it's necessary because the FDA lacks the specific scientific, medical, or technical expertise necessary for the performance of their review responsibilities. And it also provides for intellectual property protections and reinforces that the purpose of the section will not impair the speed of review. You know, we felt like the development of this provision too was the result of collaboration between industry and between the FDA and all of our congressional sponsors and patient groups. So we wanted to make sure it was expansive and it, you know, protected intellectual property and, you know, covered all of our bases. And why is this section necessary? If you want to move to the next, yes. It'll help encourage greater efficiency. While the cystic fibrosis community has been fortunate in our development of treatments, there are still unmet medical needs to treat this disease, as there are for millions of those with other rare diseases. Researchers, patients, industry, and others are working hard to alleviate these burdens and improve quality and length of life. And one way to do this is to ensure that those at the FDA who evaluate treatments have access to the most updated, most specialized information. And actually, a really good example of this that Mark had mentioned before is Kalydeco. Is a new drug that was developed by Vertex Pharmaceuticals in Cambridge, Massachusetts, in collaboration with the CF Foundation, that addresses for the first time, it's very groundbreaking, for the first time addresses the root cause of cystic fibrosis for 4% of the CF population. It actually corrects the problem. And I actually was up on the Hill meeting with offices a couple weeks ago, and I had a doctor with me, and she was talking about the clinical trials, and she said that she had never seen a greater increase in lung function than she did with the clinical trials for Kalydeco. It was really, I mean, it's incredible. You're seeing patients coming off the transplant list. It's really incredible for our community. And throughout Kalydeco's review, the foundation and CF experts worked closely with Vertex and the FDA in providing valuable insight on specific issues related to CF, clinical research on CF treatments, and other issues related to the product in its review. We believe this contributed to a more efficient evaluation and was a testament to what can be achieved when stakeholders collaborate across sectors to ensure a swift review of critical drugs for patients. So we would like to see that replicated more often at the FDA. Now we go on to implementation. Am I talking too fast, by the way? Okay, good. Thanks. Now that the section is signed into law, it still has to be implemented. I know that's what we're talking about. The job is not over. FDA has made a commitment to swiftly implement this, and we truly appreciate their attention to all of these provisions for those with rare diseases. We look forward to working with the agency to ensure the most effective and efficient implementation of this important provision via collaboration on the development of regulations. And in particular, there are a few specific components that need to be implemented. These include the process for informing FDA personnel of the section, the process for informing the rare disease community. That kind of outreach is really important. The development of this list of experts, and if needed, a process for how reviewers will reach out to experts. I mean, it's already done, but we may need to put something together. They may need to put something together. There are some principles that the foundation would like to see as components of implementation. And they include, particularly about the development of the list, we'd like to see a transparent process that includes widespread outreach to the community, the addition of experts as much as possible on an ongoing basis throughout the year, make sure they have as much opportunity as possible to take part, an unlimited number of experts on the list. We don't want it capped at 10. We want to make sure that it's representative of the rare disease community and that everyone who wants to take part can, within parameters and if they're qualified. And we want to make sure that the reviewers have adequate knowledge of the existence of this list and the principles behind its development, as well as encouragement to use it. So that's my spiel on EXPERRT. Thank you very much.